Let's start today's session. So today we will continue with the game of life from cell 23, which is not to interdependency. So 23 is a happy person. Santushti, it is a condition of a happy person. The positive aspect of this is the sadhaka finds a state of balance, and this should lead to a state of contentment. This is the initial stage of accepting everything as a gift of the divine. Santushti means being happy. Any happy person, contented person, it is a level more than tripti. Any practicant of the path is happy. Happiness too is there, and there is nothing wrong about it. The only trouble about it is he compares. You must just get into a state of just, an implicit state of acceptance where he feels whatever he gets is just. While a person is happy, he also feels he is infallible. We see some people who are of the opinion that they are doing their sadhana extremely well, that nothing will shake them, and they are perfect. They are not persons who are not practicing. They follow 10 commandments also. The person who has santushti follows the commandments, but then he thinks he is infallible. The question may arise how a person might think he is infallible after he has accepted everything as a gift of the divine. Both feelings are there simultaneously. The person will say that since everything is a gift of divine, God has given this capacity. This rider comes. There are many case studies relating to this. We can only say this much that it is guaranteed that these feelings come, one does fall. We would have seen in our cases itself that we would have stopped doing meditation for some time. Most definitely, we could have stopped. The feeling that what is there to do more would have come, and we would have definitely stopped. We slide. The path is such. It is a slippery zone. It always keeps sliding down. We commit this mistake with happiness only. There are no intentions. Happiness, along with it, gives big stomach, right? A big stomach, along with it, gives enormous gravitational pull. The weight increases and it gives a gravitational pull. It is one of the common problems of a sadhaka. Tushti is felt only when we get what we want. Santushti is the next stage after complacency. When we come out of complacency, we fall into mohamu. If we escape that, we fall into santushti, which is again due to complacency. It will not allow you take further action. There will not be motivation. It will not propel you for further action. Only if we have a disturbed condition we can move forward. You should remember the logic of restlessness of revered Babuji always. You must be restless even at the state of peace. It is not understood as it is a matter of experience. Every one of us feels balanced, quiet, and happy during our meditations. But are we happy? No, we feel restless. So, this poison of restlessness is a positive aspect of philosophy. I'll take a pause here. There is seems like quite a bit more description on this, sir. Anything to add, sir?
It's clear, no? Everything is clear. You see, uh, uh, I was reading Vasishtha Yoga. Uh, uh, there, he talks of a palace with four gates. Palace is when you enter into the palace, it's a liberation actually. And he talks about uh, uh, four gates which guard your entrance. One of the thing is self-control or discipline. That means you practice yoga, you do self-control. I mean, tapas you do, control your mind. Then you are allowed entry into the palace. Another gate through which you can enter is called jnana, the who am I? So you try to probe and try to find out who is, what is your essential nature. So you inquire like that, then also that is the doorway which leads you to this thing. Uh, Third one is contentment, he says. Suppose you are contented. Contentment is a state where you're, uh, where in that sense he's talking about complete vairagya. That means total desirelessness is there. That is also a gateway which will enter, will help you enter into liberation. Fourth is company of the saints. Suppose you have company of the master, all people who are realized or moving on the path, if you have their company, your mind also imbibes those qualities, and then through those company of the saints, your state of mind will help you enter the kingdom of heaven or whatever, I mean, liberation. So contentment in that sense, it can be practiced. Suppose if any desire is entered into you, that means you have lost that contented state of mind. So if you are alert, you can watch and then you can renounce the desire. So it can be a practice also in the sense, yama niyamas are practices. After meditation, if you are watching yourself and then if you have viveka and if you're in a state of discontentment because of any desires arising in you, desires or things for sensual pleasure or unpleasant things which you want to get rid. If you got a headache or fever, if you want to get rid of the fever, also is if you don't accept it as a divine gift, it is a discontented state actually. If you accept the state of sickness as a will of master only for the exhaustion of poison or samskaras inside you, still you can be contented in a physically sick state. So it can be cultivated actually. It's a kind of a sadhana or a kind of a practice you can do.
So, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Condition is that of restlessness always. It is not that of happy, and this is one of the reasons why we evaluate the system low. Lot of people have a doubt that even though they are in a high condition, since they did not get santushti, they have not reached. And where have they mentioned that we should have santushti? They have said it in Vedanta. It is a problem of Vedanta. They have used the word santushti, meaning we are supposed to get that. How do we get contentment when we are restless? It should be contentment in restlessness. In these parts, it goes by the name of Pila Temaralu, where a very light wind is blowing. It has disturbance, but we enjoy it. Our condition will be like that. Looking at it from a different angle, we can say this. Let us look at the aspect of serving the Master. We have willingly accepted to serve. When the abhyases come, do you feel like receiving them with the warmth that you will receive a master, or you are just consider them as unnecessary people who are coming and disturbing you? Please introspect. Not always you consider you are receiving the master, unless you are telling a falsehood. Truth is many times we feel this fellow is a nuisance who has come. What is the great urgency of this fellow has got? These kinds of feelings come. I am only sharing what I personally feel. Many times I have felt it, and that is what I say. That is the slippery zone. Instead of recognizing him as the master who is coming to you, because every person has to be accepted as the master, correct? As far as philosophy goes, it sounds very good. But do we actually do it? You are happy with your condition, therefore, you do not like that person. This is nothing new to us. Every saint has felt it. There will be one saint, he will be in his own state of mind. There will one more coming to him. The one who is coming is also a saint. The first one says, why did you come to me? Don't you have any other work? Could you not go somewhere and meditate? This has been put in poetry also. Say a person will be in the thought of Lord Krishna, he is lost in it. When someone comes for him from outside, he would have asked there if they have no other work. The other person would say that they have to go to the temple. The person who got disturbed would say that you are an external person, you go to the temple. I will sit here and continue my meditation, please go. That is how they used to be. This discussion goes on. The person will be doing his sadhana at home. Someone will come and keep disturbing them that they have to go to the temple. The person will be saying that people disturbing have no other work. The people would ask that if the person does not come, how will others learn? This discussion is also there. So you can see the attitude. The person is in happiness, but comparisons do come. They explained in quite detail. We'll go ahead. The next one, 24, is mohamu or infatuation. Almost every great seeker has fallen a prey to infatuation. The stories of sage Vishwamitra and others indicate that, in spite of being on the path and having all the qualities of determination, still one can fall a prey to infatuation, seduction. It is seducing actually. A person who gloats in the glory of his achievement, as in the state of the Atmastuti, easily falls prey in infatuation because he thinks he is infallible. The characteristic of feeling infallible is the sliding factor to get into infatuation in spirituality. The story, which depicts Maricha coming in the form of a golden deer, typifies the stage where a person falls a prey to the Asuric forces in him, trying to possess the impossible. Mohomo means trying to possess impossibility. Every wise man knows there cannot be a deer which is golden. The woman in the sadhaka falls prey seeking after these impossible things and loses the game. Please refer the story of Ramayana for further details. So in last one and this one, there is a lot of focus on that when one feels is infallible, we fall, we slide. Anything to add? Any questions on the? Okay. So then we'll continue with cell 25, that is I-ness, Astitvamu. The self is experienced as an inevitable expression of the divine. Also, the self is the signpost to the presence of God. Astitvamu means the feeling that I am there. Astitvamu is a gross state. It is not the superior I-ness that we talk about. For example, if we take a peon in the office, he says that when I am there, why did you enter the office? Why did you enter ignoring me? He will prevent you from going inside. It is a stage at which awareness of self is predominant. It comes in the second knot. We are talking about the awareness of self in the sense of ahamta. The self is experienced as an inevitable instrument for the divine. The inevitability is the illusion that if they are not there, what will God do? Also, there is a feeling that the self is a signpost to the presence of God. The Dvaja Stambham in front of the temple is a flag post to the temple. It feels its inevitability and that without its presence, the temple divinity cannot be known. So, this is the illusion that we have at this stage. So, we go to the next one, that is jealousy or asuya. The self is experienced as one giving happiness to the divine. However, it wants divine exclusively for itself and becomes jealous of Lord's attention to others. The religious bigotry has got its origins here. Explanation. Satyabhama, one of the eight consorts of Lord Krishna, she was always jealous of Rukmini. Tradition has it that Rukmini is Shri, who is always with the Lord, and Satyabhama is the Mother Earth. The Mother Earth, though is most beloved by the divine, is always away from him. She is always jealous that she is not able to live with her Lord. In this episode of Satyabhama, we find the Lord granting her request and pampering her. Satyabhama has never lost her position. She was always having her position. She came to some stage of being nearer the Lord in one particular life. Of the two, she is more loved by God because it is only here that He expresses. To explain it further, Shri is barren, whereas Bhudevi has got all the children of God. All of us are children of Mother. So this cell as well as the last one, although it's a positive quality, along with that, sir is explaining the negative quality that comes with it, right? That we want the divine exclusively for it oneself. Next is 27, that is cheating. Mosamo, a stage of development in spirituality when a person behaves as something which he is not, the beginnings of egoism. Pseudo saints, pseudo masters are not any rarity. Beware of becoming one. This story from Aesop fable is given to elaborate this further. A fox, a lion, a leopard, and a camel become friends. After some time, due to drought, all four animals barely get anything to eat. The fox plays a trick on the camel where it offers its own meat for the survival of its friends. The friends reject it. Next, the unassuming camel offers its own meat for the survival of its friends. Pouncing at the invitation, the lion kills the camel. The fox here behaves like a true friend, which he is not, and this is cheating. So, this is also the negative quality that we need to be uh, beware about. 28, that is disinterestedness or nirasakti. These are the beginnings of real vairagya, the discriminative intelligence, viveka, that everything belongs to the divine, develops into a stage of vairagya, but this does not lead to nirvyapara or a state of no action where there is need for action. The proper attitude is to discharge the duties as the command of the master. That is the state of King Janaka. In one of the incidents in King Janaka's life, Ashtavakra meets him. Having heard about the disinterested state of mind of King Janak, Ashtavakra asked him to give away his kingdom if he was really disinterested in being the king. King Janak immediately gives away his kingdom and walks away, and this was the state of disinterestedness of King Janak. These are the beginnings of Vairagya, developing a sense of non attachedness through disinterestedness. Non attachment arises through disinterestedness, so we are proceeding towards Vairagya. During the period of Ramayana, people have gone to Janak for knowledge. Saints' children were sent for training. Saints themselves went to him for clarifications. A very great person. He is very high, and Pujya Babuji says so. Janaka's condition is such. Other examples of disinterestedness are Emperor Nero and Aurangzeb. They used to practice vairagya and disinterestedness. Aurangzeb, in particular, was always detached in life. Every one of us is a complex bundle of several qualities. Kumbhakarna is another good example. He did not want anything. Whatever his elder brother told, he did. Else, he used to keep quiet. Just as the song playing on the road does not have any influence on us where we are least bothered about it. That is due to certain amount of viveka that we have got. Suppose we are like this in performing essential duties, we will not be able to perform. So the person works when he is reminded of his duty. That is how Kumbhakarna was. That is the attitude that we should have, and at the same time, as a command of divine. So that is disinterestedness or nirashakti is clarified that it is not doing anything but doing it as a duty, as a command of the divine. So we'll go to the next cell, that is 29, stealing. Parigrahamu. This tendency to steal appears to be a quality of the ape which we tend to get. Therefore, the picture of apes is shown in the game of life. One tries to steal someone else's glory as his. This state is an obstacle for the development of attitude of surrender called Anubhav Virodhi. These are the obstructions for surrender. The ape monkey, actually called Pondamukku Mucho, means thief. It is terribly intelligent. The other type with a red face is not as much intelligent. Pondamucho is intelligent. It is not covetousness. This is the same problem that comes at the stage of Prapanna. We have Prapanna Prabhu and before that Prabhu. The problems of Mucho are linked to that. You start thinking that you are the master. It is very common thing that is happening. There will be someone in the office. He behaves as if he is the one. He will be taking all decisions. Actually, it is a reflected glory that makes him talk like that, do like that. A house thief is approximately one aspect of the story. This fellow stays in the house and then he steals. In the above case, he steals the glory of the master, but he is not the loser. In the example of house thief, the thief is not the loser, whereas in the condition of the Prabhugati, we must also point out that the person who steals is the loser. Instead of giving credit to the master for the work, one tries to steal from him for oneself, or allocating the capacity to ourselves which really belongs to him. To start enjoying as if one is the master, and that experience, the anubhav itself becomes a virodhi. An example would be like this. We are working for the master. We start thinking that it is ours. The feeling that it is I who is doing it comes. We say that it is the master alone who is doing it. What happens is an abdication of responsibility, a tendency to use for one's own enjoyment the objects that ought to be dedicated to the service of the Lord. There are two exceptions here. One is the classic example of Shabri. She enjoys the fruit before giving it to Lord, and the justification given is her love for him that makes her taste it first and then only give it to him. It must be said that in such circumstances, Anubhav Virodatva does not come. If your dedication to Master is of such a great degree, then it is not necessary. Otherwise, for you and me, we should not taste the fruit before giving it to the Master. Suppose we offer prasad on any occasion to thank our Master. We cannot say that we will taste it to see if it has come out well or not. It is not permissible. There is an exception there. When we go to a temple, we take fruits along with us. Do we check whether the fruit is good or not by tasting it? Or do we take it as it is by purchasing from the shop? We don't taste it, correct? While cooking at home, not prasad, they might taste the food. They will take liberties with you. If it is prasad that is being made, they will not taste it. They will not allow you to touch it. There will be an area earmarked for it. They would have kept some jaggery or sugar for it. If you go and touch it, they will admonish you. Some may think that it is not enjoyment, but you take it for enjoyment only. When you take it, you start enjoying. You have already tasted it. You have no business to give. We cannot give something to the Lord after tasting it. The second example is that of Andal. She first puts garland for herself and then gives it for Lord. She has no business. On this only there is a big fight. Upon going to the temple, the priest scolds and is told that it is no fault of her, and then God Himself answers. That is the story. These are exceptional cases. Anubhav Virodatva can be applied there. Since that surrender layavastha with the master is so much, they could do that. There is one more case like that. Govinda is asked to make bed for Ramanuja. He makes the bed and then sleeps on it first. Someone sees it and asks as to why he did it. Govinda says that it is meant for Ramanuja, so we have to see if it is correct or not. Otherwise, he will not give. This is a less known episode of the two others are well known episodes. We can try to apply Anubhav Virodhitva there also, but their laya with the masters is such that you can't do that. This is a human consciousness, not only monkeys. Parigraha, stealing, kleptomania, all these come under this category. Unless you get out of this, you will not get settled in the inferior type of superconsciousness. If you want aparigraha to come, then parigraha must go. Aparigraha is the negative word from parigraha to aparigraha. Parigraha means taking what is someone else's. Parigraha is stealing. There are different stories attached to this. Ravana's story is there. The story of Vali is there. Indra's story relating to Ahalya is there. In the case of the story of Indra and Ahalya, it is a case of stealing daily. The punishment he gets is that he will have his entire body with eyes. That is his curse. That is why he is called Sahasraksha, one with thousand eyes. Any questions or anything to add on this aparigraha stealing? Starts from the basic stage of parigraha, and then also parigraha at a higher stage when thinking that you are the master, and then instead of giving credit to the master, one tries to steal from him. That's a very high stage. It's mentioning it after prapanna.
Recently, I was hearing one of the talks by Pujya sir. He is explaining in about Anubhava Parigraha. Actually, like uh, basically, he is explaining the concept where we all go through, we all participate in masters, satsangs, bandaras, and all, and we cherish the blessings of the bliss of the bliss, and when we are to spread the system, we don't do that. Sorry, it is anubhav virodhitva, not parigraha. Sorry. Yeah, like he says in that context, like though we enjoy, we do not spread it across. So that's sorry, it's anubhav virodhitva, not parigraha. Yeah,
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 we don't want to take that responsibility, right? So,
yeah, yeah.
This applies to most of us, this Keshav. This applies to us also. Some of us think that we are the ones who are giving the pranahuti, when it is not you who is giving it. And similarly, some of them who actually thought that they are the ones who are the masters themselves when they are not. Therefore, we have to be very careful because that is slippery slope. And that's when you all drop to the floor and beyond. Therefore, one has to be always alert. Otherwise, you don't know whether you are doing parigraha or aparigraha. You won't know. Therefore, we have to be always vigilant and alert in these matters. And we try to assert ourselves as masters, or we arrogate ourselves, everything which is not ours. And therefore, this is some of the people will do that. Some claim themselves they are the Krishnas themselves when they are not. And they are masters themselves when they are not. And the way to do is once you also, even for us, the other people who are actually attending to them also have to be alert.
yes, sir. So let's go ahead. Cell 30, that is belief. Namakamo. Faithful to the master's cause, a missionary, the Vedas. A picture in the game of life depicts Dattatreya. The Vedas are depicted as dogs. Dogs lead us in hunting. Similarly, Vedas lead us to God. Dattatreya had descended into the realm of world as progeny of Atri and Anusuya, a sage couple of the Vedic age. Anusuya became very famous for her devotion to her husband. She was the embodiment of chastity. Such was her spiritual power that hard Uneven earth turned soft and smooth for her as she walked about. This pious woman induced jealousy and envy in others. However, the three gods decided to prove these doubting elements how wrong they were. They transformed themselves into mendicants, approached the hermitage of the sage Atri, and begged for alms. At that time, sage Atri was away at the river, offering his daily oblations. Anusuya came out and offered food to them. They made a strange request. The food be prepared and served to them by Anusuya in the nude. In In the Indian tradition, any Atithi guest cannot be turned away as they are considered to be an aspect of God. Hence, she was placed in a dilemma. She smiled to herself and reflected thus: I am totally purified by the long association with the holy sage Atri. What harm can the god of lust ever do to me? So I do fear nothing. As they have sought food from my hands, I look upon them as my children and not as strangers and grown up men. Her thoughts, the thoughts of a pious and chaste person, instantly became reality. The elderly guest became babies. Sage Atri, on his return to the hermitage, saw his wife Anusuya fondling three babies. Anusuya said, these children are the gift of God to us who have been childless so far. Sage Atri was overjoyed and named them Datta, means which means given. At this, the three gods reverted to their real forms and disclosed the truth. They extolled the power of chastity and purity of Anusuya, which vanquished the combined and colossal powers of all three of them. Sage Atri and Anusuya prayed that they should remain as their sons. They consented, and the three gods merged into one body. That is why Dattatreya has three heads. Very powerful.
There is a mistake in the. Can you go to the previous page? You mentioned oblations.
Mhm.
There is a difference between oblations and ablutions. Oblations is offering of the bread and wine in Christianity to God, whereas ablutions is washing and going what you do in the into the river. Therefore, which one you mean that?
Yeah, so it would be a typing mistake then.
No,
Ablution.
sometimes it corrects itself, and therefore we must have got the wrong one. We never use oblations.
Mhm. Yeah,
Sorry, I have a muted mess. It should be you rather than a.
okay.
Sarvesh, oblation is correct only. Oblation is a religious offering to the God.
Now, see, you oblations, you offer the things, but it's a Christian word actually,
Yeah,
offering wine and bread to the God. You're
yeah.
not offering wine and bread to the God there.
Ablution is washing yourself. That is okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oblation is probably in this context, it has been used as a Sanjavandanam or something in that meaning. It's a religious offering to the gods. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
oblation may be having a Christian connotation, but the meaning here is a religious offering. They could have used a Sanjavandanam or something.
Yeah, I understand that.
Maybe
But
it's
that's more of a
oblations means the act of making a religious offering, especially oblation, the act of offering Eucharistic elements to God, something offered in worship or devotion, a holy gift offered usually at an altar or shrine. Oblations, I think it's correct only. Oblution అంటే స్నానం చేయటం, వాష్ చేసుకోవడం అది.
yeah.
Anyway, it's a clarification.
Okay. Let's go ahead. 31, that is deceit, kapatamu. The intentions are to cheat, take advantage to oneself, appearing all the time as if one is helpful. In Mahabharata, the deceitful nature of Shakuni is well known. He always posed as a well-wisher of Kauravas, but his intention was to wipe off the Kaurava clan. The story of the tiger posing itself as a deer. The intentions are to cheat, take advantage for oneself, appearing all the time as if the person is. There are lot of people we see outside who pretend as if they are good people. Actually, his intentions are to kill you. He is feigning. There are lot of stories on this in Mitralabha. Example, the jackal appears as a friend and in turn tries to kill the sheep. Come to the next one, that is satsang. It is a fortune that comes to you as God's gift. There appears to be no apparent reason except our good deeds of past life, which might lead us to the company of good people. This helps in firming up our goals and in developing attitude of service to others. Only if we had done some good fortune will we be meeting others. There is some good thing that we have done to each other, therefore we have come again to do service. Otherwise, we will not meet. So, again, the importance of service is stressed upon here. So, we can take this 33 and then, yeah, we can stop. Desire, kamamu. Many people consider this to be the goal of life. Enjoyment is what hedonists have always held to be the goal of life, and so did the Charuvakas of the East. Today, modern life seems to be opting for this. This covers desire for varieties of food, company, drinks, women, and host of other things. There is a difference between kama and moha. Kama is much more strong, the desire, one of the heaviest traps we have got in life. This covers desire for food, desire for company, desire for various varieties of foods and drinks and women. This can never be satisfied and therefore has to take recourse to denial of reincarnations through rebirth. Rebirth. So that covers this row from 23 to 33. So you are on mute.
We'll stop here, then we'll see. So the invasion means Babuji keeps on talking. No, the lesser the desires, more freer. Desires are the main problem, and any spiritual practice which will not help you to develop viveka and vairagya is of no avail, he says. That's not a spiritual practice at all. So if you are practicing for a long time, so you will see that your thirst for enjoyment will go away. I mean, the desires, you'll be free from desires. And when desires are not there, mind is quiet and relaxed and tranquil and peaceful always. So you have to watch, and desires doesn't mean you have to have a big house or a big car, or having very beautiful men or women as in relationships. Not that kind. Even minor uh, minor thoughts. Every thought is a kind of a desire. The weather is not good. The headache should go away. My BP should get controlled. Everything comes under desire. The food, tea is supposed to be hot, it's not hot. That also becomes a desire. Everything, every thought can virtually mean a desire, actually. If you read Ways and Means, it's very clear in that book. He says we are never free from desire, even for a single moment, he says in that book. So people have a wrong impression that you have to have crores of rupees, or you should have a very big bungalow or big cars, enjoy expensive holidays. They're thinking that as desires. That is one aspect, but the other aspect is virtually every thought of you can be a desire. Actually. You want your party to win power. You want this particular person to lose the election. That also becomes a desire. You want that fellow should be punished for the crime he has done. All thoughts are desires.
And it's
That,
interesting. We started with 23 as Santushti, right? And 33 is desires. So,
yeah. Okay. So that's why if you Santushti, sir, so the Babuji's prescription, he says, you should develop, first of all, in Silent Speaks, he gives a suggestion. He says, surrender comes very later stages. Initially, he says you should accept a mode of attitude where any phenomena or experience coming into you, any pleasant or unpleasant feeling, you should feel that it is agreeable and acceptable to you. Then that leads to dependency. Then after the mind is in a state of dependency for a long time, the negation occurs, and then the link of God becomes stronger, and at some point surrender happens. He says you will not even know that you're surrendered. That's the idea, actually. So first of all, this can be practiced, accepting everything as agreeable and acceptable, that every thought and feeling, whether it is pleasant or unpleasant, is a vibration or wave in your mind, and that vibration and wave cannot happen without the power of God. So you accept it as a will of God. All those thoughts which are coming out are actually poison getting out of the system. So if you understand that metaphysics, then you can practice contentment and practice dependency. And then uh, actually that comes as a state of mind when that second knot is opened by the if some trainer foments that condition in you, you feel that condition naturally. It can be created at will by trainers, actually. So if a trainer wants and the Abhyasi is interested in actually feeling that condition, it can be created. The Abhyasi sincerely should want to experience that condition, and the trainer should merge in God, and then he can pray, and prayer is answered. It can be easily created, actually. That is the gift of Pranahuti Babuji has given to humanity, actually. Okay, if anything else?
Any questions, anyone? Anything to add? Yeah, it's meet next Sunday.
Next Sunday मिलेंगे फिर. Okay.
Thank you.